Howdy all, welcome to Lex Lives. I think it's time to play a little Minecraft. Alright, so man, it has been a long week. I am exhausted today. Work was crazy this week. It was like, I don't think I got finished on Monday till like 7. I'm normally done around 5:30, 6 o'clock, somewhere in there. And it was like 7 on Monday, 10 on Tuesday, 9 on Wednesday, about 9:30 last night, and I had to work again today. And I don't normally work on Fridays. Crazy, way too much time. I was gonna do more work on this before I started recording today, but I don't know how true it is, but I was informed by a third party that I apparently have plans for the evening to go see It. No one told me, so I could have gotten my normal amount of sleep, but I figured, I'll just I'll have a good tired night, and then that way I can, because everybody's supposed to be going away tomorrow, so maybe it'll be quiet and I can sleep in tomorrow since I'll be so tired from today because I got up early. So, I got up, I finished up my work for the week, and about 2:30, no, it was probably about 1:30 actually, I was upstairs, and I was like, oh man, I just finished my work for the week, and I was talking about how I had nothing to do for the rest of the afternoon, so I was just gonna watch a TV show here and play some video games. And they were like, "Aren't you going to the movies?" I'm like, "No. I'm pretty sure I was told you were going to the movies tonight." And I'm like, "No. I never said that." "Well, I was told this morning that you were going to the movies." Well, maybe somebody else is going to the movies, but I have no plans to go to the movies. "Nope, you're going to the movies. It's just you and my sister." And she said you guys were going tonight. I'm like, well, nobody said anything to me. So I'm getting shy on time here. And like I said, I am pretty tired at the moment. And so I have got to get my recording in, apparently, especially because I want to attempt to get a recording for the new Dishonored game in as well, so I can get that started tomorrow. Provided it downloads today. There is that little issue. It might not get downloaded in time for me to make a video. Yeah. I couldn't remember if this was correct or not. This here doesn't need it. I'm doing the thing again where this is where the road is gonna be, so I gotta fill that in, but then I can leave a gap because mobs can't spawn, as far as I'm aware, in one high blocks. Not some can, but not anything I'm dealing with. But yeah, no, my week has been mostly working on work, um, and playing Destiny. Destiny 2 came out last week. I talked quite a bit about it in my 7 Days to Die video. I don't know why I just ran so far. I have a bed back there I could have slept in. Um, but I talked a lot about how crazy similar it is to Destiny 1, and the fact that I don't think it was in the video, but I talked about I think I called it Cold Snap, but it's actually Cold Heart. I pre-ordered the game. I got Cold Heart weapon, and but you can't get the pre-order and digital deluxe bonuses um, until you finish the main storyline. And so it was crazy because I finished the main storyline. I went to the guy. I got my pre-order bonus, which was the Cold Heart gun, and I talked to a different guy, and I got my digital deluxe bonus, which was the legendary sword. And so when I talked about it yesterday, uh, uh, I mentioned, or I talked about how I had gotten my exotic um, trace rifle, I think it's called Cold Heart. And I walked about 10 feet. I talked to another guy. He gave me an exotic engram. Engrams are, if you never played Destiny, engrams are these little orbs you get, and you gotta go turn them in. And when you turn them in, you get a random weapon or armor or something like that from them. And so when I took my exotic engram, I turned it in, and my random weapon was a better version of my pre-order item. So I didn't even get to use my pre-order item. I simply got an upgrade to it immediately, which is a little bizarre. And um, so, uh, and then I got my I forget exactly what that sword is called, but I got the digital deluxe version because I figured I'm gonna use the digital deluxe. Just was I think the digital deluxe version was $99, and so it was like $6 cheaper to buy the digital deluxe than to buy the base game and then buy the expansions when they came out. And so I went ahead and bought the digital deluxe version, and so I got a legendary sword. Now, once again, if you've never played Destiny, it's like other games. Things come in quality levels, and so there's like regular, rare, legendary, exotic, and unique. I think there's unique as well, but I'm not deep enough into the game to be in a group that's capable of acquiring the super rare items. A lot of that requires raiding, which is my biggest dislike for the game. Is that it's not really set up very well if you're not super chatty. And I'm not super chatty, and so I don't have any real group of people that I know that play the game, and so it's next to impossible for me in my current. Like, I could go out, I could get chatty, I could, find a group, get invited to a clan, that kind of thing. But I don't want to, and I wouldn't mind going on the raids, but I just don't understand why you can't be matched like you do with the strikes. Anyways, that's got nothing to do with anything. So exotics, it's regular, rare. I didn't know the rares were rares. Actually, there's a lower level than that. There's white, which is basic. There's green, which is slightly better than the white. There's blue, which is called rare, I found out, which is better than the green. And then there's purples, which are the legendaries. And then there's yellows, which are the exotics. That's not the color of the item, that's the color of the orb you turn in. And then there's, I'm pretty sure there's a step above exotic, but those are super rare, and I've never had one. And they probably don't drop as orbs anyways. So, but there's a legendary sword, so a purple orb level sword. What did I come back here for? Oh, dirt. And so I get my sword, and I go to I'm playing the game, and I've got the sword for a day. Like, it was like 10 minutes. I didn't even use the sword the first day I got it. I don't want to go into that much detail about the game. Needless to say, there's all right. I gotta, which is explain why I didn't use a sword. It's not that it wasn't a good sword. It's that you have 3 slots for weapons, and you can only have 1 weapon in each slot. And so the weapons overlap. So there's kinetic weapons, which is your primary regular shoot 'em gun. And there's different types of weapons. And then there's your energy weapon, which overlaps with your kinetic weapons now. Didn't used to, but now. And except that instead of being kinetic, which just means they shoot normal bullets, they shoot energy-based bullets. And then there's your heavy weapon. And so the sword is a heavy weapon, so it goes in your heavy weapon slot. But if you have your sword equipped and you pick up ammo, it only goes for your sword. And yes, the sword has ammo because the sword is energy-based. And so if you have your sword equipped, you can't use, say, I don't know, your rocket launcher, your grenade launcher, things like that. And so when I'm playing the game, there are some things that just aren't easy to fight with a sword. And so, it's a little hard to fight the thing that's floating around in midair with a sword. And so I'm like, okay, all right, fine. I just didn't have it equipped. And so yesterday I get a purple engram, and I turned it in for my legendary item. And shoot, is this the... I've screwed this right up. Dang it. That's the grass. The grass makes me place blocks I didn't want to place. Stupid grass. And so I actually need to lower in this level, which is easier to put in than the other level, because this is where the road is going to go. So, yep, that's right. So I need to put this level in. And so I didn't use it. And then, like I said, I got a purple engram, and bam, I totally got a better version of the sword that was my pre-order bonus, or my digital deluxe bonus. And I'm like, seriously? And I'm pretty sure that my other bonus that I got for either pre-order or digital deluxe, I already had access to when I started the game. And so all they did was, I couldn't even take it because I already had it, because it's a you own this already kind of situation. And I'm like, seriously, you guys, this is ridiculous. Like, okay, yes, I would have had to have paid for the expansions. But one of the things that made me pre-order was that I get pre-order bonuses. And they weren't even worth it because I already had everything that I got a pre-order bonus of immediately upon obtaining the level that I could even acquire those pre-order bonuses at, you know? And so that's a little bizarre. But anyways, game is pretty good. I have managed to complete the single player storyline. I kind of just talked about, the things I didn't like. So I kind of want to talk about the things I did like. I enjoyed the main storyline. I thought the bad guy for the main storyline was pretty awesome right up until the end, and then it just, even the end of it was good, but the final fight was not. I know I said I want to talk about the things I liked. I did not like the final fight for the main storyline. Um, it was it was way too easy. Um, uh, basically, you have superpowers. They run off of a thing called light, which is AKA time. You sit around and wait for your powers to build back up, and then once enough time has gone by, then you have access to your powers again. And there are ways to increase them, killing things, and sometimes you get other items that increase your speed at which your powers build up. So, but mostly it's just waiting around for time to run out, so that you can use your power again. So the bad guy, he wants this power, and uh, it's a little more deep than that. I really liked his storyline, and it was, I guess, spoilers. He he wanted to um, he wanted to be worthy of being a bearer of the light himself, and so he had struggled his entire life, following the traveler where the light comes from, trying to prove himself to the traveler that he was worthy of being an immortal guardian like your character is. And so instead, since the traveler never chose him, he decided to seize the light for himself. And so at the end of the game, he does. And but then comes the bizarre thing. He seizes the light for himself, and then immediately decides it's a good idea to challenge a guardian to basically a duel of powers in an area where you can instantly refill your light levels. And so he challenged a guy who has had not just one game, because this is the same character I played the previous game, but 2 games of experience using the powers to a match of using powers. And so it was so easy to fight because he would come out, I would throw a superpower at him, I would run to a spot that was leaking light, I would fill back up, I would throw a superpower at him, that was enough to take him down. He would run back to the center, he would switch his ability, because you have three ability types, and then I would just go refill it back up and wait for him to come back out, and then hit him a couple more times. I don't even think I got my shield knocked down. That's how easy this dude was. I fought way harder fights than that. Getting to the final fight, he was just way easy. I don't know if I'm supposed to feel superpowered fighting him. I mean, not that the game is extremely difficult, but come on, that was way too simple of a fight. Like, maybe if my powers just worked normally, you know, and that would have been okay, but that is not how that game was playing it, that's for sure. Anyways, Fun storyline. I like the graphics. They've upgraded some of the graphics. They've got some new bad guys. They don't have they have new races. They're the same standard bad guys that were in the first game, but they've got new subclasses within those. Because Fallen, for example, Fallen have the dregs, which are their lowest level. There's dang, I'm out of dirt again. There's shanks, which are flying robots. And so there's a new version of the shank that's pretty cool, the heavy shank, which may have been in Destiny 1, but now it's an actual thing you come across more often. Um, the Vandals, the Captains, and then there's something bigger than a Captain, but I totally didn't pay attention to what they're called. And they're pretty tough. They might just be Captains, but they're different than regular Captains, and so they were pretty cool. And so each of the races got treated to that. Each one's got a new kind of extra creature to it now. I didn't see so much with the Vex. There's like one for the Vex. I don't remember any for the Cabal either. I just remember the ones for the Fallen, and Vex got exploding thing that leaves pools of electricity on the ground. What's the Hive got? I don't remember anything for the Hive at all. Dun, dun. Yeah, I don't know if the Hive actually got an extra creature. If they did, I didn't notice it. Weird. So they threw in a couple new creatures, which were cool. And but I don't know. It didn't feel so much like a new game as it did just an expansion to the original. Still, it looked better. Playstyle, they didn't change the playstyle too much. I really hate when a game is a sequel and they completely redo the control system. And I like the ability that they've added to more directly manipulate what's on your weapon, what kind of damage it does, which is kind of cool. I haven't gotten to the level where I can use the good versions of that. So I've just got the basic versions so far, and I gotta say I enjoyed some of the storylines, and I really liked the bad guy, although I wish he'd had a bigger storyline. I feel like there wasn't enough storyline, and but I have liked some of the after completing the main storyline missions better than the main storyline missions. Some of them seem pretty cool. I wish I just did a batch where two of the bad guy types were working together, sort of. And that seemed like it'd be a pretty cool storyline. So, I don't know. I haven't done any of the strikes yet. That was the thing that I missed. In Destiny 1, the strikes were part of the storylines. And in Destiny 2, I haven't even done one yet because I don't know. It feels like you used to have choices on some things, and they've removed the choices. And so it's like in Destiny 1, there was you got your map, and you choose the sections that are available to you to go to. And in Destiny 2, you choose the sections that are available to you to go to, but strikes are not on that list. And strikes used to be map points because they had storylines to them. I don't know what the new strikes are like. I haven't done one yet. I'm probably get into one tomorrow, maybe. It's not going to be today because you need you need better internet than I have available today, since Dishonored is still downloading for me. It didn't. Yeah, I'll talk about that in a second. I want to say nice things, but all I'd like to do is complain. I don't know what it is. That's my favorite thing to do, is complain. Anyways, I had fun. I definitely had fun. I finally got my because of the level I'm at, it's at the point where you need to start getting good gear. And so I did manage to get my hands on the exotic scout rifle, which is my favorite weapon in the game. So that made me happy last night. It took me a long time to get it. It was a horrible quest. It wasn't a horrible quest. I enjoyed all parts of the quest, except I wish I had known ahead of time that I was going to need to tear down 5 rare or better scout rifles. I didn't know that was coming, and so I had 0 scout rifles I could tear apart. I finally got my hands on 4 scout rifles that I could tear apart, and I had a 5th one in my hands, but I couldn't find anywhere to get a primary weapon to replace it, because you can't have 0 weapons. And I finally did find a place to replace it, but only after I had been running around killing things trying to get a replacement weapon for hours. Well, maybe not hours, but for probably 40 minutes. Because, and I don't understand why, there's a character in the game called Banshee44, and he is the weapons dealer. And in Destiny 1, there's actually a whole bunch of places to buy weapons from. And in Destiny 2, there's almost none. Except Banshee had weapons earlier in the game. They all had weapons earlier in the game, and then when I needed to buy a weapon, none of them sell weapons at that point, because the game changes as you go through. So even though everybody else could still see the old versions, because I had completed the main quest, all the main characters had moved to a different location and changed their inventories. And so I couldn't buy a primary weapon. And so I'm like, oh man, I could break this down, but I can't because I don't have a weapon to replace it with. So I finally did get a hand cannon, I think, which is not my favorite weapon. But hey, you know what? I needed to break down my scout rifle, which I had a legendary scout rifle, but I needed to break that down so I could get my exotic scout rifle. So I do have my exotic scout rifle finally. So that's cool. That made me really happy. And now I can start working on better gear, which is one of the things I enjoy in the game. Although I'm not convinced that their new system is very good. I feel like the old system had a lot more options available for types of weapons and stuff, and honestly, like, there were probably 200 different configurations for scout rifles in Destiny 1, and there were 3 in Destiny 2. Because it used to be random things on them, and in the new one, if it's that particular weapon, it always has the same things on it. And Firefly is missing, which was my favorite mod. I didn't see Firefly. There's another one that's related to it. One makes them explode with when you do precision shots, which I believe is Firefly. One of them makes your bullets explode, causing AoE damage. I don't remember what that one was called, but neither one of those is an option that was available on scout rifles for me, and that makes me sad. They took away all the little the perks like that. I didn't see any. There were like armor piercing. I didn't see that. There was ceramic bullets, which I think were lighter, so there were more in the clip. None of that stuff is in the game, and I find that to be a weird thing to take out. Like that was, you would get your weapon, and you'd be like, okay, well, this is the look I want, but it doesn't have the random abilities I want on it. So now I have to go and either some weapons you could use a thing called a glass needle. Was it a glass needle? Glass thread? Something. And you'd use that and some other consumables, and you could re-roll what was on the weapon, and so you could do that over and over to try and get the weapon you wanted on some of the weapons. None of that's in the game, and I miss it. It's part of the customization that I really enjoyed, and it feels like they really yanked out customization. I know another one that I do not like is there doesn't seem to be a lot of gear available, and so one of the things to make it more customizable is you can apply shaders to each piece. And I know there's a big uproar over shaders being one-time use. I don't really care about that because there's so little other choices out there. Like, people are like, oh man, but I change my shaders all the time. Okay, so it sucks for those guys. Other people were like, oh man, that sucks because what if I get a better thing and I've just used up my shaders? But that's the problem. I haven't seen better things. There's the armor, there's only a handful, like a tiny amount of available. I gotta be careful here because nope. All right. I thought some of this dirt was other kinds of dirt. But there's just a handful of armor looks available, and none of them are what I like. I miss my coat from Destiny 1. Everything for my warlock so far has been like robes wrapped around him, and in Destiny 1 I wore a trench coat, which I know is a little on the emo side, but I think it looked cool. So, anyways, yeah. I was going to talk about something else real quick. What was that other thing I was going to talk about? It wasn't Destiny. It was... I don't know if I can remember now. Was it Destiny? I said, oh, I'll talk about that in a minute. And then I didn't talk about it, and now I don't remember what it was. Oh well, that's the way my brain works. Yeah, so fun. I'm enjoying it. I do plan on playing it some more before I probably, I don't know, like I said in my other video, I played Destiny 1 a lot. I expect to play this one probably a lot. Although I'm already level 20. And it took way longer to get to level 20 last time. I don't like that in a game. I don't want it to be a horrible grind like Ark or something. Ark is a horrible grind, and I usually change the settings to make the game much less grindy. I'm okay with processing. I'm not okay with grind. Which like this here is processing to me, right? It's a necessary evil to build my thing. I've got to do all this grunt work. And it's not grindy. Grindy to me is strip mining. Strip mining is grindy. Like, you gotta keep doing the thing. It's stuff you don't want. It's something you don't want to do, but you gotta do that thing to get to the thing you want to do. This is part of the thing I want to do. This is the foundation. I gotta build the foundation. This makes sense to me. I've got to reshape the terrain. This is fine. But if I've got to spend 40 hours doing the same tiny thing over because I can't make the next thing because I haven't spent enough time making the previous thing. That's a grind. Although I did play some old school MMOs that had grind in them, and I do prefer a bit of the grind to instantly level 20. Um, uh, for that matter, I almost think that there were more missions in Destiny 1 to get to the end of the game. Uh, I know one of the things they said, oh, dang it, you know what? I was going to just say nice things, but one of the things I feel too is they talked about how Destiny 2 was going to have much bigger maps. And I don't think that happened. I don't feel that Earth, which is the biggest map, I don't feel that Earth is that much bigger than Old Earth in Destiny 1. Uh, and and some of the other maps are definitely not very big. Io and whatever the place by Saturn. Uh, I forget what they call that place by Saturn um, in the game, but uh, I also find it weird that you don't have access to the places you went in the first game. Like, I feel like this game should have been way bigger than it is, and for what little got changed. Although I really did like that bad guy. I thought the bad guy was pretty awesome. Gaul was awesome. Gaul's ship attacking the sun was awesome. I really like the storyline of the leaders of the Guardians not having their powers and trying to sacrifice. Well, not trying to sacrifice themselves, but being willing to sacrifice themselves to stop Gaul. That was awesome. I really liked the storyline with Cade and Failsafe. Failsafe is awesome. I like the crazy scientist who's part Vex now. That dude is funny to me. So there's a lot in the game I really enjoyed, but there are some glaring problems that I would rather they did it the old way than the way that they decided was the way to fix whatever they thought was the problem with the old way. It's really one of those cases of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Um, Although I'm happy that they kept the same control scheme. Uh, that was great. I appreciate that they didn't screw around with my favorite subclass too much. Um, a bit, but not enough to make it unplayable. Uh, let's see. Anything else I really liked that they changed? I like that I don't have to go to space to travel between places anymore. Like the cutscene's still there because the cutscene is their load screen. I'm okay with that. I've never had a problem with load screens. Like I said, I played MMOs. I'm used to having load screens between every section, um, as you had to wait for your dial-up to download what everybody's doing in the next section. But I did. I I appreciate that I can open the map and switch to the destination map and pick a new spot without having to get there first. I like the quick travel that's new to the game. That wasn't there before. It's nice to be able to quick travel. Um, but yeah. All right. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and call this. I have got a lot done on this road today. I actually don't think the person I need to talk to find out if we are doing this thing tonight or not is home yet. I thought they were supposed to be home about an hour ago. But I did get quite a bit of roadbed filled in today. So that allows me to start figuring out what I'm going to do next. I'm thinking probably it's going to be related to this area here. Like, I know we got the little park there on that little island, but you know what? We might start over here, actually, now that I think about it. One of the things that happens in a city is because this is so close to the industrial sector, which is across that bridge, one of the things I gotta have are the little businesses that you find near factories and stuff. So we need to get a restaurant in here and a bar, or a restaurant bar, whatever. Probably a restaurant and a bar, because usually you find those near factories and stuff. Because people need to eat and stuff, and so you often find those little bars and restaurants right near the factories. And since there isn't enough space over on where some of that... Oh, man, I fell right off my own bridge. Since there's enough space for that over there where my little factories are at... Dude, can you just jump on this, please? Thank you. So then we're going to have to... I'm going to have to... put it over here on this side. So I'm thinking probably the other side of the farm there, we'll get in a restaurant or a bar or something. Might even get one over here, like maybe put a little bar. Well, we gotta have enough room for a parking lot is the key here. Parking lots are pretty big for me with my giant roads. But that's only because it's, that's... I could have space to build the actual cars, which I haven't done yet. Yeah, farm runs out about there, so I think we got enough room for maybe a bar, parking lot, and a restaurant shares the same parking lot. And especially with the park here, I could totally see a restaurant across the road here. So that'll probably be my next project. And then once we get over here, then probably things related to that as well. Maybe a motel, for visiting people for the industrial section, maybe, or I don't know why anybody would come see a lava pit and want to have to stay, but maybe we'll get a motel in here, and then we can start on some office buildings and stuff across the way here. It'll be good. Because eventually I'll get to the whole reason I started building this town. It's only going to take me like a year, 2 years to get to that point, but I still know in my head my whole plan for this, and I can't do that thing until I have a town built. So yeah. All right, with that, click like, subscribe, share, and catch the next one, and I will talk to you later.